Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Paul, and I am a nerd, and you are lucky enough to be here for our July 2015 Coffee Pot webinar. And today we are talking about GX4, which is the latest version of Worldox, the latest version to come out of New Jersey, world headquarters to none other than World Software Corporation. Now, I'm a little confused about whether it's morning or afternoon, and I'm a little confused about whether it's July or August, because this is a re-recording of the original webinar, which we had some technical difficulties with. So I am re-recording this, and that means a couple things. It means you don't have to listen to the boring part about what to do with your GoToWebinar control panel, because we know that you're not attending this live because I'm here all by myself. It also means I don't get to make fun of Leanne being our humble moderator, because Leanne's not here to moderate either, again, because there are no live attendees. And I guess that means that I have maybe an extra minute or two to talk about what's new in Worldox GX4. So without any further ado, I'm going to click a few things and press a few buttons, and we're going to talk about Worldox GX4. Now, this is Worldox GX4. It's a lot different looking. Now, one of the things you're going to notice right away is that it's got a very streamlined, very succinct, and very updated look. One of the funny things that we brought out of the Worldox first annual reseller conference about a year ago, when we first heard inklings of what was in Worldox GX4, was Fred, who is the original programmer, saying that they would change his icons after they dragged his after they over his dead body, which they would have to knock him over and his walker to get to the icons. He lost, and so we have icons that look a lot more streamlined, if you can believe it. And I think I've got my work zone enabled. Let's find out here. We actually have a work zone. Let me get it back. We have a work zone that actually has a recognizable logo in it. I don't know if you remember the GX3. Well, you probably do. You probably still have GX3 if you're watching this right now and wondering what GX4 is like. We always used to argue about what that meant, what that icon even looked like. It looked kind of like a Rubik's Cube. So this has been redesigned totally. We've got a sleeker look. We've got a more modern-looking interface. And we have a lot more things going on in a lot less space with a lot less clutter. You'll see what I mean as we get into that. Let's start with something that, Mary Jo says is her favorite thing in the whole world. So let's see if we can get to Word. And I'm going to talk about something called Quick Save. Now, Quick Save is for that instance where you don't have time or you don't have what you need to profile a document. So let's say a new case has just come into the firm, you just left the conference room, your administrator or whoever runs your Worldox system or your practice management system that might be linked to Worldox, they haven't set up the matter yet. And yet here you are typing a document, a letter, a pleading already, whatever the case may be, and you don't have time and you don't have the inclination to save it and profile it, or you don't have the matter set up, you can't profile it. This new feature right here, which I have installed and which is going to show up right on your quick access toolbar in Word and Excel and Adobe, is the Worldox Quick Save file. And when you do it, this is what happens. Bam, it's done. Now, you can get back to it through your favorites, and also when somebody sets up Quick Save for you, they set up where these go. They set up kind of a holding place. So this isn't the kind of thing you just save everything to Quick Save, because that would make it very difficult to find things. You still need to profile documents. But you can now Quick Save something and either have your assistant or you go back in later and actually profile it to the right place. Awesome feature when you don't have time. Awesome feature when you need to just get something saved. Later on, you can profile it. Maybe you just type 2 pages and you need to save it, and you're already 10 minutes late for lunch, or you don't have it set up yet. Very, very cool. I'm going to look at emails real quick. A lot has changed here, so we're going to talk about quite a few of them. First off, saving email. So I'm going to profile this email from Patty. And when I do that, I'm going to put it in client files. And we're going to have it go to WSC Corp and General. And we'll say it's an email. And I'm WDOXT, the test user, Walter Ox. And so we're going to save it. Now, you've seen that before. That's very quick. You also know that later on, if you go to save another email from Patty, it'll save that same way. But Worldox has improved their heuristics. Heuristics is a fancy word. I don't even know the actual definition. But it's a fancy word for being able to associate something with something else. And so now, if I go to save another email from Patty or to Patty, it'll instantly know to profile it to that matter. And if I go to save another email from Patty and I want to change the matter, it might already know that I want to change it. Why? Because of these things that we're about to look at called Follow Me Favorites. Follow Me Favorites mean that Worldox knows who things are associated with, and also knows what your most recently active and most recently used matter was. So your favorite matter, if you have 5 matters that you might profile emails from Patty to, maybe she's opposing counsel and you have 5 matters that you are dealing with her on right now. And if the last matter you profiled it to was the Smith versus Target matter, but the last matter that you actually actively worked on was the Smith versus Walmart matter, then when I go to profile that email for Patty, it's probably going to want to put it in Smith versus Walmart because it knows that both those are active for Patty's email, and it knows that the one that I'm currently hot on is Smith versus Target. These are called Follow Me Favorites, and they go everywhere. Now, again, before, Patty's email would have gone to one of the two, but it was more up in the air and more of a mystery as to what Worldox might decide it wanted to put it with. And Worldox has gotten much smarter about knowing what your currently favorite hot matter is in association with that particular email address. And its heuristic profiling of email is much smarter. Okay. Another thing is, and you may have seen this before, I have Worldox stuff here. I have some quick profiles in my Outlook that allow me to very quickly take a whole group or even a non-congruous group, depending on how I click, whether I use shift-click or control-click, and basically grab them and move them to a specific folder and profile them all at once. This has been there before. But what hasn't been there before is that you no longer have to create these. They get created for you automatically. Worldox knows which matters you work on, and it doesn't even have to be something in Outlook. So let me take a look here. Isaiah in WSC, I just want to get a glimpse of who I have not saved to. So I'm going to go out here, and I'm going to save a document. I'm going to create a new one real quick, just so it's not confused about this quick save that I just did. And I'm going to do a blank document, and just like I always do, I'm going to type test. But this time I'm going to save it. And I'm going to try and save it to somebody I've never seen before. So let me go back here, 760, 102, 118, 2000. Let's save it to, let's actually go to at 118. I'm pretty sure I have not saved to that client. I'm going to save it to this particular matter. I'm going to save it as an agreement, and it already knows who I am. I'm going to save it. Now watch what happens over here. There it is, the 118. I don't think that existed before. Maybe it did. I should have paid more attention. But it will create that instantly. The minute I profile something in Word or Adobe or in Outlook, it instantly creates this for you. You do not have to create it yourself. And if after a certain period of time something else has taken precedent as a favorite matter and this matter here is no longer favorite because it hasn't been used in a couple months, it will drop away. So I now have my favorites, anything that I've profiled to, any matter that I've profiled to, following me in Outlook. And I have the ability to drag emails to these profile groups. I can even look at documents straight from Outlook. I can even look at the whole list of files that are stored in Worldox, for that matter, straight from Outlook, just like I could before. But what's different is that these are created for me automatically. Now, we also have the matter, the ability, I should say, to take a matter and make it a favorite statically. In other words, I don't care if you think Worldox, if you think that this is my favorite matter right now. I do. I want this in my favorites list. And all we have to do is mark it as a favorite matter, and it will stay a favorite matter until we tell it not to be a favorite matter anymore. So simply by either having something become a favorite matter because of recency, because I profiled something to it, or because I have made it a static favorite matter, it will show up here in Outlook automatically. And that's very cool. This is probably the number one feature, number one reason that this feature did not get used as much as it should have in prior versions of Worldox. You had to create these manually. That meant we had to train attorneys how to do that. Attorneys didn't want to learn how to do that, and it didn't get done. Now it happens automatically. While we're on the subject of favorites, I'm going to go back into Worldox, and I am going to just show you that all you have to do to make something a favorite is click on this little heart, and the heart gets filled in, unlike this one where it's not filled in, and you have just made that matter or that client or that document a favorite that's going to stay a favorite as long as you don't come and unclick that, because it's not one that's based on recency. It's one that's based on your statically assigning that the status of favorite. So that's also very easy now. It used to be a little more cumbersome to make a document a favorite. It wasn't something as easy as clicking on this little heart and filling it in to make a document or a matter a favorite. Now it's very easy. The interface. Let's look at this interface. Very sleek. One of the things that, a lot of our clients, I'm not particularly fond of this because I like this list view, but a lot of our clients are finding they really like this tile view. It takes things, and if you're sorting with some sort of a grouping, it breaks them into the same groups that you had, but it kind of puts them in a two-column layout with things grouped in boxes so that they are easy to identify where the grouping is, and it's easy to get more information on the screen because we don't have that single line for an item. We now have things in two columns. So some people like that. To get back to the list view, you just click this here. Another thing that's kind of revolutionary is if you've ever tried to change your what fields you're showing, what order you're sorting things in, whatever it is that you want to make this list your own and make it always default to that set of settings. In versions GX3 and before, it was kind of difficult. People usually ended up calling me or Mary Jo, usually Mary Jo, to get them to help them do that. Now it's as simple as going into settings and saying, make this my favorite view. So there's no more styles and column layouts, and there's no more need to define multiple column layouts and then make one a default. You just get it set the way you want it, and you say, make this my favorite. We do, of course, have the ability still to have multiple column views, but when it comes to how you want things to default, you just get it to look the way you want. You go here and you say, make this my favorite. Another thing that's immensely cool is this preview. If you are familiar with preview in GX3 and before, you know that it used to be something that appeared at the bottom. And when it first popped up, it was only about that big. And if you've ever tried to preview an email in a space that's only that big that's at the bottom, you don't even see the beginning of the email. All you see is white space, and it was basically useless. Now, with it over on the side, it seems like such a simple thing. You can tell that I have a real active imagination when I type my test documents. Now that it's on the side, even though it seems like such a simple thing, it really revolutionizes your ability to go through and look at documents very, very quickly. And while we're looking at documents and trying to find documents, let's talk about search. This is the new search box, and it is configurable. First off, you have a history here that is great. But it's also configurable so that it is either looking for description and content, contents like we've never seen before, or description and comments like we've always seen before. Now, usually what people are used to, and I don't, that's going to take me to recent files. Let's see if home takes me to where I expect. No, it doesn't. My home is set to take me to favorites. But you can see as a home key, you can also see a Worldox screen that just has a field here to search. And that obviously is a more simplistic approach to searching than this advanced find, which brings up your regular saved searches and your ability to look at things like client files and get into this advanced search. Now we have this here that lets me just type something like agreement and see instantly all the documents that contain the word agreement. Very cool. It used to be that if you went to the one line that you could type something on, you were just searching comments and description, which is like the title of the document. Now we're searching comments, and watch this. Now we see comments, contents, and their context displayed right here. So if I see this one, I say, I think that's the one, but it's not that I'm looking for. You can actually scroll through all the occurrences of the word in the document and see the context for that document, for that particular hit. See, we're on 8 of 20. Now we're going to be 9 of 20. Oh, this is it. Yeah, the remedies part. The bank deems whatever. You can see it and instantly know without having to even use that preview over on the right. But of course, if you do use the preview on the right, you still have the ability to go through the found terms that way. Very, very cool now that you don't have to use, if you don't want to, you don't have to use the preview. You can simply use what's over here. Another thing that's very cool, that's new, is that this ability is now to be found within Word, Adobe, and I want to say, and Outlook. So we now, on the Worldox ribbon in Outlook, Adobe, and Outlook, Adobe, and Word, we have the same ability to search for something like agreement and hit that button, and bam, we get the same thing. So we don't even have to go to Worldox anymore to do a full text search. We just go up to that bar in Word, we type what we're looking for, and we hit the button, and bam, there we are looking at a list. Save. Look at this. If we go into Word, and I kind of showed you this a minute ago, but I didn't really touch on it very well. If we go into Word and start a new document, and I promise I'm not going to type test this time. If we go in and type new document, see how creative I can be, and hit save, this is the new profile screen. Now it kind of looks the same, but pay attention. There's no comments box. I don't know if you liked the comments box in the old GX3. I did not. I got stuck in there a lot. How do you get comments in? Why, as you're typing the title, you simply hit enter. Did you see that? I hit enter in the title, and comments popped up. When I get back out of comments, I'm back into just looking at the description. So they've taken this field and turned it into a multi-field, where if you want to type some more stuff, see how creative I am, some more stuff. Oh, and I'm also a little anal retentive because I can't have this O be capitalized. There we go. Now I've got a comment, and when I get back up here, that comment still shows, but when I get down here, it'll still show, but if I don't have a comment, I don't have that field. So it's just there. It's not hard to get into. It's not hard to get out of. Another thing, if you remember, you used to have a button over here to select your cabinet, and that's a new thing too. We don't call them profile groups anymore. They're called cabinets, just like cabinets in file cabinets in a file room. You have different cabinets to store different types of things. We have different cabinets here to store different types of profile documents. Now you just drop your list down here. You don't have to go to a whole separate screen to select your profile group or your cabinet. It's right here. And what's this? Categories? Well, you can actually enter categories. If you're not familiar with categories, They've been beefed up a little bit in Worldox GX4 as well, but they were there before, but you had to go to a separate screen or it was kind of part of the end of the profiling process. So if you wanted to put in a comment, you wanted to switch the profile group, and you wanted to do categories, you ended up looking at 4 different screens before to profile a document, whereas now everything is accessible from here. Okay? We've looked at search results. We've looked at the full search being embedded. We can also add a category right from here, something that wasn't possible before. Right from the profile screen, we can add a category as long as we have the rights to do that. And that is my quick view of absolutely everything that's new in Worldox GX4. Now, I'm going to disclaim that because there are a lot of little things, and we're going to be getting into these throughout the next couple months in our virtual user group meeting that is 3 o'clock every last Monday of the month, our Worldox virtual user group meeting, and perhaps in another water cooler or another coffee pot webinar. So keep an eye out, but that's kind of your quick rundown of what's available in GX4 and how different it is and how much the same it is. Really, it hasn't changed in how it's organized, just in how it looks, how it functions, and how quickly you can do things, and how you don't even have to do certain things anymore. They just happen for you. How do you get it? Well, you send us an email. If you're on maintenance and you have GX, anything, GX3, GX2, GX, even if you have Worldox 2000 or something older than the GX series, but if you're on maintenance, you're entitled to it. So all you have to do is send an email to paul.purdue, like the school, not the chicken, P-U-R-D-U-E, paul.purdue@attorneycomputersystems.com. Now, as long as you remember that attorneycomputersystems.com with the emphasis on the S at the end of the word systems, you can also always get to us simply by clicking on Contact Us. Those come straight to me as well. So if you want to get the Worldox GX4 update, whether or not you're on maintenance, if you're not on maintenance or you don't know if you're on maintenance or you know you're not and you still want to pay for it, but you want to know how much it is, whatever it is, if you want to get it or you want to check to see if you're on maintenance or you want to check to see how much it would cost if you're not on maintenance, just contact me somehow. And so while we're here, we'll talk about the fact that we have all these videos on our website. We have our virtual user group meetings, the water cooler, and we have 3 of them, tabs, Practice Master, and Worldox. We have our coffee pot webinars, which is what you're looking at right now. Mary Jo has her eBytes video series, which are short little snippets, and we record one of these each month on tabs and one on Practice Master and one on Worldox. And we have the longer Paul and Mary Jo show, one of them recorded each month, where we quite frequently will talk about Worldox, but also talk about tabs and Practice Master. And we have a much longer format for that particular video, and so we go into great detail about whatever we're talking about. These are all available to you. All you have to do is click on one of the topics, like Coffee Pot Webinars, and you'll get a description of what it is. You'll get a description of what the next scheduled event is, if it's a live event, and you can register by clicking this link or that link. And as you scroll down, you'll see what's currently in post-production, and you'll also see recordings of the most recent entries. And we go all the way back to the beginning of time when we started recording these, so we have literally hundreds of hours of video content on virtually every topic you could find imaginable. And if you can't bear to scroll through all those and browse for something, you can simply go here and type something like GX4, and you will get a list of the available video content or written content that has that word in its description. So be sure to take advantage of all this. Be sure to be back next month or to view next month's video where we're talking about, well, I don't know what we're talking about, but you know where to go to find it, attorneycomputersystems.com. Thanks, everybody. Have a good afternoon, and we will see you soon. Bye.